Paper Mill Playhouse acknowledges that our theater stands on the traditional land of the Lenni Lenape. We honor the land and the indigenous people who inhabited it for thousands of years before European settlers arrived.
Welcome to Paper Mill Prologues. I'm Lorna Jordan, Education Outreach Associate at Paper Mill Playhouse, and I'm excited to share with you a special look at a jolly holiday celebrating Disney's Broadway hits, a musical review featuring some of our favorite Disney songs. 27 years ago, Disney Theatrical Productions began adapting animated films and live-action musicals for the stage, bringing new life to beloved childhood stories. Today, live Disney musicals can be seen all over the world. Join me as we take a look at the music of Disney on Broadway and the honored partnership our theater has with this theatrical giant. When we think of Disney music, we often think of joyful, upbeat songs or beautiful ballads sung by princesses. This sound is greatly credited to the work of composing duo Howard Ashman and Alan Menken. Theater fans may know Ashman and Menken as the creative team behind the hit musical Little Shop of Horrors. In 1988, Ashman and Menken were invited by Disney to pen music for the animated film The Little Mermaid. Ashman was especially passionate about creating a unique sound for Disney that not only incorporated a musical theater style, but supported the storytelling of each character's journey. Here, he explains part of that theatrical process.
Inner intensity.
In almost every musical ever written, there's a place, it's usually about the third song of the evening. Sometimes it's the second, sometimes it's the fourth, but it's quite early. And the leading lady usually sits down on something. Sometimes it's a tree stump in Brigadoon. Sometimes it's under the pillars of Covent Garden in My Fair Lady, or it's a trash can in Little Shop of Horrors. But the leading lady sits down on something and sings about what she wants in life. And the audience falls in love with her and then roots for her to get it for the rest of the night.
Ashman and Menken went on to win the Academy Award for Best Original Song and Best Original Score for The Little Mermaid. This success kicked off an era we now know as the Disney Renaissance. The duo continued to work with Disney, writing music for Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin, until Ashman's passing in 1991. In a fitting honor of Ashman's legacy, Disney brought their musical success to the stage. In 1993, then CEO Michael Eisner obtained a 99-year lease on the New Amsterdam Theater on 42nd Street in the heart of Times Square's theater district. Along with massive renovations to the building, a restoration plan began in partnership with the City of New York to transform the face of the neighborhood into the bustling hub of theater, tourism, and family attractions we now know it to be. Eisner's plan worked, and the first two shows Disney produced on Broadway, Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King, solidified the company's place in Broadway history. So let's take a closer look at these two musicals. Disney's Beauty and the Beast began enchanting Broadway audiences at the Palace Theater in 1994. The music of Ashman and Menken returned to its stage origins with additional lyrics by Tim Rice and book by Linda Woolverton. Disney spent a reported $12 million on the production, making it the most expensive show on Broadway when it opened. Fun fact, Linda Woolverton, who also wrote the screenplay for Beauty and the Beast, was the first woman to write an animated feature for Disney. The staged production of Beauty and the Beast went on to receive 9 Tony nominations, and designer Anne Hould Ward won for Best Costume Design. This production ran for 13 years and is currently the 10th longest-running musical in Broadway history. In the same year Beauty and the Beast premiered on Broadway, Disney released the animated film The Lion King. Along with Sir Elton John and Tim Rice, cinema musical giant Hans Zimmer brought in South African composer Lee Boehm to collaborate on the project. Fans of the film may recognize Lee Boehm as the voice singing Zulu and Xhosa lyrics in the song Circle of Life. The film was a critical and commercial success, winning Golden Globes, Academy Awards, and a Grammy for the songs and score. After the film's debut, Lee Boehm worked with Hans Zimmer to release an accompanying soundtrack, Rhythm of the Pride Lands. This album, an expansion of the original score, provided a deepened exploration of the African source material featured throughout the film's music. Additional songs in native African languages would eventually be adapted for the Broadway production, providing a foundational soundscape for the piece. These songs include He Lives in You, Leia Halalela, which was adapted into Shadowlands for the musical, and Lala, adapted into Simba's aria, Endless Night. In 1997, Disney's The Lion King premiered at the newly renovated New Amsterdam Theater. The production boasted a celebrated team of writers, including Sir Elton John, Tim Rice, Lee Boehm, Mark Mancina, Jay Rifkin, Julie Taymor, and Hans Zimmer, with book writers Roger Allers and Irene Mecci. It would go on to win 6 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. Julie Taymor would also become the first woman in history to win a Tony for Best Direction of a Musical. 24 years later, Disney's The Lion King continues to be the pride of Broadway as the 3rd longest running musical. The Lion King has been translated into 44 languages and played in more than 100 cities in 20 countries on 6 continents. Its worldwide gross of more than $8 billion exceeds that of any film, Broadway show, or other entertainment title in box office history. Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King paved the way for the long and vibrant tradition of Disney's stage musicals that would follow. Paper Mill Playhouse is honored to have contributed to that tradition by bringing several Disney musicals to life on our stage. This partnership began in 2008 with High School Musical, a stage adaptation of the Disney Channel original movie. This production, featuring reality TV star Bailey Hanks as Sharpay Evans, was directed by Paper Mill's own producing artistic director, Mark S. Hobie, and choreographed by Dennis Jones. The Paper Mill Disney partnership solidified in 2011 with the smash hit Newsies. The show starred Jeremy Jordan as Jack Kelly and a Jolly Holiday cast member, Cara Lindsay, as Catherine. Newsies was adapted from the 1992 live-action film with music by Alan Menken, lyrics by Jack Feldman, and book by Harvey Fierstein. Newsies had its Broadway debut in 2012 and went on to receive 2 Tony Awards. The success of the Paper Mill production ushered in its own sort of renaissance and helped establish our theater as a major producing commercial entity. In 2013, Paper Mill and Disney continued their successful partnership with a reimagined production of The Little Mermaid. The production, directed by Glenn Cassell, featured Jessica Grove in the title role, with Liz McCartney as Ursula and Nick Adams as Prince Eric. Although the setting of The Little Mermaid takes place under the sea, Paper Mill's production took to the sky, utilizing fly systems to simulate the mermaids swimming underwater. 2 years later, Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame staged its finalized production at Paper Mill. The musical features book by Peter Parnell, music by Alan Menken, and lyrics by Stephen Schwartz, composer of such hits as Broadway's Wicked and Paper Mill's Children of Eden. Fun fact, cast members were brought together later to record a studio album featuring members from both the East and West Coast productions. The recording debuted at #1 on the Billboard Cast Albums chart, ending the Hamilton album's 17-week run on the list. In 2017, Disney's Mary Poppins flew to Paper Mill Playhouse, starring Elena Shadow as the nanny with a heart of gold. The production would reunite members of the High School Musical team, with direction by Mark S. Hobie, choreography by Dennis Jones, and music direction by Megan Zarvoulis. 2 years later, Disney was back on our stage with Beauty and the Beast, again directed by Mr. Hobie, with choreography by Alex Sanchez. This sold-out production starred Belinda Allen as Belle, Tally Sessions as the Beast, and Tony nominee Gavin Lee as Lumiere. What's new and what's next for Disney theatricals? In the summer of 2019, the Public Theater staged a production of Disney's Hercules in Central Park through its Public Works program. Hercules featured a diverse, multi-generational cast of professional actors and over 200 New Yorkers from all 5 boroughs. A lovable new stage adaptation of Winnie the Pooh is currently bringing families together at Theater Row in New York City, featuring puppet replicas of Pooh and his friends. Earlier this year, Disney announced its intentions to produce a musical adaptation of the 2016 film Hidden Figures with a creative team of Black artists for the production. Aida original cast member Shelley Williams is already set to direct the musical. If you'd like to take a closer look at more of Disney's communal, regional, and international reach, you can check out our lobby display boards on the first floor. And now, I'm excited to introduce the cast for A Jolly Holiday. First, let's meet Cara Lindsay, who has a special connection to both Paper Mill and Disney theatricals. Cara originated the role of Catherine in our production of Newsies after having been seen in our 2009 adaptation of Little House on the Prairie. She would continue the role on Broadway and later be seen as Glinda in Wicked and Cynthia in Beautiful, the Carole King musical. We are so thrilled to welcome Cara back to Millburn. Major Attaway made his Broadway debut in Disney's Aladdin as a standby for multiple roles before becoming the first actor to replace original cast member James Monroe Iglehart as Genie. He is currently developing his Disney-based cabaret show called The Genie's Jukebox. Outside of the theater, Major is an avid gamer and has even lent his voice talents to a variety of video game characters. Kissy Simmons also made her Broadway debut in a Disney production when she stepped into the role of Nala in The Lion King in 2003. She later reprised her role in the 2009 Las Vegas production. Simmons recently joined other Disney alumni for a concert as part of the Stars in the House web series to raise money for the Actors Fund. Dan DeLuca played the role of Jack Kelly in the first national tour of Disney's Newsies. In addition to roles at regional theaters across the country, including the Muni in St. Louis, Dan has been seen in numerous concerts and reviews. Dan has been a part of several new works celebrating some of the greatest composers of the last 50 years, including Martin Charnin, Stephen Schwartz, and Alan Menken. We are thrilled to welcome New Jersey native Jaron Mewes as he makes his Paper Mill debut. Mewes was recently seen in the Broadway production of Ain't Too Proud as David Ruffin. He has also appeared in the original Broadway productions of Motown the Musical and Irving Berlin's White Christmas, in addition to several Broadway touring productions. Our understudies for this production are Dion Simmons Greer and Bronwyn Tarbotten. Special shout out to Greer, who stepped into our production of Songs for a New World for Act 2 on opening night. He is truly one of our own, a graduate of Montclair State University, Paper Mill Summer Musical Theater Conservatory alum, and a 2-time Rising Star Award nominee, and we are so proud. Bronwyn Tarbotten returns to Paper Mill after making her Broadway debut in Disney's Frozen. She was previously seen on our stage in Mary Poppins, Oliver, Annie, and Beauty and the Beast. We are so excited to welcome her back. And finally, let's meet some of the creative artists who put the show together. Director Casey Hushen returns after directing Paper Mill's Beehive last season. She has been the associate director of many Broadway shows, including Mean Girls, Aladdin, The Prom, Elf, and To Be or Not to Be. Her choreography can be seen on the TV show Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. We can't wait to welcome her back in January for Clue. Choreographer Kenny Ingram returns, having just choreographed Songs for a New World. Off-Broadway, he has worked on Turtle on a Fence Post. His choreography has earned him multiple awards, including the Best of Fest Award at the New York Musical Theater Festival for Emojiland, and the Jeff Award for Excellence in Chicago Theater for Dreamgirls at the Marriott Theater. Ingram also has a special connection to Disney musicals, as he performed in the Broadway company of The Lion King for 15 years. Music director Jeffrey Coe's Broadway and off-Broadway music directing credits include Be More Chill, Broadway Bounty Hunter, and Baby. Looking ahead, he will be the music director for Chicago Shakespeare Theater's world premiere of The Notebook, featuring music by Ingrid Michaelson. Not only has Coe previously worked at Paper Mill on The Honeymooners, he is also an alum of the Paper Mill Playhouse Summer Conservatory and recipient of a Paper Mill Rising Star Award. Last but not least, music supervisor Jim Abbott will be collaborating with the creative team to bring that signature Disney sound we know and love. Abbott has worked on many Broadway productions throughout his career, such as The Prom and Wicked, and Disney's Tarzan and Aida. And that's just a little bit of a closer look at A Jolly Holiday. If you haven't already, don't forget to check the Paper Mill app for more highlights and information. And if you missed any of this video, it is available to you on the app at any time. Thank you all for joining us at Paper Mill Playhouse for a truly magical season. We look forward to seeing you again at our next production, Clue. Have a jolly holiday.